Right guys, welcome to episode 2 of Lifting the Lid.
In this episode, expect to find out what awaits you after basic training, the coolest and least inspiring specialisations, and the perils of having a fit sister in the core.
Let's get into it. We're back.
We're back, episode 2. Let's get into what we've got.
Back again.
This is just a wrap episode, by the way. I'm just going to wrap the whole time.
Right, episode 2, Specialisations, postings and drafts.
Okay, cool.
So if we pick up
where we left off.
Yeah.
So obviously, last episode, if you haven't seen it, we covered everything to do with training and before training. So now we're at the end of training in the lifespan of a Marine. We're going to go through what happens next, I guess.
Yeah, so you're trained rank now.
Yeah.
Where do you go?
So you go, depending on where you've been posted. So you'll initially, in the kind of last couple of weeks of training, you'll have put your preferences in as to where you want to go throughout the course, so what unit you want to go to. They'll take that into consideration a little bit, but generally you'll just go to wherever needs you the most.
Well, this is a stupid question.
Yeah.
Is that called a draft?
That's a draft, yeah.
Right, so you get
everything's
drafted,
a draft, really.
You get drafted to different units.
Drafted to a unit, yeah. And so it could be 4-2, 4T, 4-5, or 4-3. Mine was 4-3. I got my last choice, interestingly. I didn't even put it down. You put 3 choices, and the secret 4th choice I got. But yeah, so you get posted there. You'll have like an interim period of about 2 weeks where we played enemy for general exercises that go around in the core, and then we went to do our driver training, and then we went to our unit. So there's a little bit of a period of it in between.
Right, okay. So at what point does everyone go down a different path? So does everyone do the playing the enemy stuff?
Yeah, everyone does that, and everyone does the driver training.
Is that up at Leckensfield?
Yeah, but everyone has a slightly different experience. So if you've got your Cat B or your driving car licence already, some people have before the core, they'll go straight into the lorry stuff, straight into the bigger vehicles, and then they'll move on, but they'll move on quicker. If you've got to do car as well, you've got to do theory car, and then you've got to do lorry, and then you've got to do all that sort of stuff.
Did you have to do your car?
Yeah.
That's mad.
Yeah.
I always forgot that.
Yeah, I had a week course to drive my car. Learn how to drive my car. So you had a week to do theory, and then a week to do practical, and then same again for the other stuff.
I remember. I was funny enough, I was building this bar
really?
while you were up at Leckensfield, because I remember I was insulating it one day and you were back.
Yeah.
And you were telling me all about it.
Oh yeah, Lecky was a weird place really. It's an army camp, so
yeah.
I don't actually know if they still go there anymore. I think they do it now at Lympstone in house. Yeah. So before everything happens at Lympstone now.
It sounded fucking mental from what
it
you were
was
telling
a bit weird.
me.
Yeah.
They basically drop kicked you through your licences.
Yeah.
Like if you failed one day, you just do it the next day.
100%. There's no like retraining. They're just like, right, you didn't pass on this stuff. Try again tomorrow. See how you get on. So it's a bit mental, but yeah. So you get out of that having the car licence, lorry licence, and lorry with articulation licence. So you have like everything after about 6 weeks of driving. So you've gone from driving nothing to driving like potentially an Arctic lorry.
Yeah,
which is mental.
So you've gone from like never having sat behind a wheel before ever.
Yeah.
To basically now being able to drive a massive killing machine.
Pretty much, yeah. Because that obviously, I should clarify why they make you drive lorries, but they make you drive lorries because the weight of them is the same as like a military vehicle that's armoured and all the rest of it. So now you have the right licences to go and learn how to drive.
A lot of money in lorry driving, lad.
True, I might get into that.
If the PT doesn't work out, mate.
There is now, especially big shortage.
Right. So you've done Leckensfield.
Yeah.
Got your licences. Now you're off to 4-3.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Which is
near Glasgow, in Helensburgh, up in Scotland.
Shout out to Helensburgh.
Yeah.
Got some family friends there.
Have you?
Yeah.
They're probably watching.
Right, so what's the crack with that?
Yeah, so obviously that's where everyone goes to different places, basically. So everyone from training is initially together, and then they'll all go off to different areas. And then when
wait, another stupid question.
Go on.
So the lads that are in your troop,
yeah,
they don't go up to 4-3 with you?
Not all of them. Some of them do.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so like 6 or 7 do, but then you further subdivided it when you get there, so you get to 4-3, and you've got different squadrons, different sections that you're going to go into. You're probably not going to be with someone you kind of know.
So you can't play it tactically and all put the same options and then end up with your mates.
You can, but it's no guarantee you're going to have. Like I say, I put 4-5, 4-2, and 40. I didn't go to any of them, so
right, okay.
There's no guarantee. The only guarantee you get if you get King's Badge, which is best recruit in training, then you can choose completely where
You
you
do
go.
what the fuck you want.
Do what you want, mate. You get absolute autonomy, which is sick. But I didn't get that, so I just get sent wherever they
Fuck
want
off to
to.
Scotland,
Yeah,
please.
yeah, furthest away. So yeah, and so yeah, I was up there with about 6 or 7 of the lads who passed out with me, and I think I went into a troop. I don't think I went into a troop with any of them. Maybe 1 or 2. I went into my actual troop eventually.
Now, I remember, well, this is just the vague memories that I have of that draft not being particularly enjoyable.
It's funny, so looking back, it was actually really good. Like, looking back, the experience and like the routine you have. Me and my mates who were there always say how much we'd like to go back to that experience now, because essentially what we were doing was behind the wire. We were working for essentially like 7 weeks, and then we'd have 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
So 7-2, we were working that rotation, which was really good because we'd have like a 3-week range package, so we're just shooting, which is all right. Sometimes it's shit, sometimes it's good. And then we'd have a week of like interim stuff where we're doing admin, getting ready to go behind the wire. Then we go behind the wire for 3 weeks, where all you do is eat, do fizz, and sit there with your arse, basically.
Because there's someone who doesn't know what it means.
Yeah.
Behind the wire actually sounds quite cool.
Yeah.
And it basically couldn't be further from the truth.
Well, it just means behind a fence, basically.
Yeah.
The wire is a fence.
It is
Yeah.
literal.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
sounds
it's-
like you're incognito or
Oh,
something.
no. Well, it is protecting the nuclear asset, but there's nothing really crazy that happened anyway when I was there. But what does happen when you're in 3 weeks behind the wire is because you're like, there's no input from the external world.
Yeah.
And so, you can imagine like 2 weeks in, a load of testosterone fueled blokes with no output. It just gets a bit mental.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that can sometimes be a bit stressful.
No birds.
Yeah, no girls, and
Wait, so do you even know what's going on in the outside world?
you got kind of social media and stuff, but
Oh, okay. So it's not like a really shit I'm a celebrity where like, you just have no idea what's going on.
yeah, you can't say I'm a celebrity, get me out of here either. But you have Wi-Fi, but it's not great. It's like you can like WhatsApp and stuff.
Right.
So it's not amazing. And then so you play little games to sort of pass the time because there's nothing to do. They're just making things up for you to do.
Oh, shit. It's like being a teenager in the 90s.
Yeah,
You've got really shit internet.
shit internet.
And you're grounded.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, there was worse than grounding a lot of times, but I mean, looking back, all it seems like, when you look back through rose-tinted glasses,
Yeah.
all it seems like is you were doing fizz twice a day, you were eating really well because food was free, and every 7 weeks you went on holiday. That's what it feels like looking back, and it wasn't like that in the moment.
That sounds like a pretty good deal.
It was great looking back. What we'd do is we'd save loads of money going behind the wire because, like I say, food's free, comms free, so nothing, no payments, and you're getting paid a little bit extra for being behind there. And so you save up all your money, and then the last week of that behind the wire period, you just book a holiday, go on holiday for the next 2 weeks. So it was great looking back for like a single Marine who's like 18 to 24. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's the dream.
But past that, it's probably not great.
Yeah, if you've got a family.
Yeah, that's not where you want to be, really, if you've got a family.
It's not great. Right, okay, so done 4-3. How long were you up there for?
About a year and a half, 2 years-ish, something like that.
What next? Is that when you can start to specialise?
Yeah, it was when I was in. I think it's changed a little bit now. But, so at 18 months to 2 years, really, you're going to look at a specialisation. So there are loads of these, which we'll get into. I chose Armoured Support Group, mainly because one of my mates was going down there, to be honest with you, and I didn't really know what else to do. And so I was really disillusioned by some of the others. Couldn't really go PTI because I wasn't a corporal, so you had to be a qualified corporal, which would have taken another couple of years to get there. So I needed something to do in the interim, and Armoured Support Group was one I chose because my mates were doing it.
Right, we'll park that thought.
Yeah.
We'll come back to Armoured Support. I did some research earlier into Royal Marine Specialisations.
Yeah.
And I went on the website, and as far as I could tell, there are over 28 listed.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if they're trying to sell you a dream there, but
No, there's loads. Yeah,
Right.
there's about that.
So I thought we could now play a little game.
Yeah.
Where I jotted down some of the more interesting / boring sounding ones.
Okay.
I wrote my initial thoughts on what I think that might entail, or the type of person it might attract.
Okay.
and then you can tell me if there's any truth in it.
I'll debunk it or confirm it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, got it. I
Right,
like it.
so should we start with boring or interesting?
Let's start with interesting and go to boring. I think boring's more juicy.
Right, okay. So I've ranked these from 5 to 1.
Okay.
So 5 being the least interesting sounding one.
Yeah.
And 1 being
the most interesting.
fucking bollocks, man.
Okay, sound. Got you.
Right.
Let's go.
So you already mentioned number 5, PTI.
Okay.
Right. Absolutely nails. Human Terminator.
Yeah.
Impregnates women by walking past them. The kid at school who had a beard in year 7.
Yeah.
That kind of vibe.
Yeah, pretty much nailed on. Generally, the most good-looking bloke in the troop was going to go that way. They're always tanned, always shredded, and it's one of the most difficult specialisations to actually get into. I remember, every training sort of troop will have a PTI course at some point going through, because they go through Limpston. And so they're running around, you can tell because they're in the black t-shirts, which no one else wears.
Ooh.
And so there's like 25 of these blokes.
Ooh, you're odd.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's why we're wearing them, by. But yeah, they're in whatever, so you can tell who they are. They're running around the camp circuits, getting thrashed. And at the start of like 25 of them, who are all already really fit, 'cause they're past the aptitude, which is hard anyway. And then that gets whittled down over like the next couple of weeks. And there was, I think, at the end of the one that was there when we were there was like three people left, and that's the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
And then the cream of the crop, and then there's 3 of those left. So it's a really hard nails course.
Unbelievably fit. You're talking like athlete level of fitness,
100%,
surely.
100%. To pass that course is insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. There's so much. You're doing like 3 sessions a day, like 6 hours of phys a day. There's
that's fucking jarring.
I'm pretty sure, I might be wrong, but you have to take a circuit every lunchtime, but you're taking your circuit to the rest of the PT course.
Right.
And so you've obviously done your phys, your own sort of phys in the morning. You're about to do a full afternoon of work, which involves phys. And then on your lunch break, last thing you want to do is phys, and you've got to do someone else's circuit. And they're obviously trying to impress, so it's going to be a hard circuit. So there's all that sort of thing.
Yeah, so you've got to like eat, sleep, breathe fitness.
Yeah.
Like you can't blag it.
No,
chance. You'll get weeded out.
It's it's really looked up to specialisation.
Right, okay. PTI confirmed.
Yeah. You were right on that one.
Number 4, armoured support. Obviously, you did that. So we'll leave that and come back.
Okay, yeah, we'll
come
leave
back
that
to
one.
it.
We'll keep that one in the
Number
pocket.
3, heavy weapons.
Okay.
Sounds like you need to be a bit unhinged to do that. I'm kind of thinking Jack Black in Tropic Thunder.
Okay, yeah, I guess so. I mean, heavy weapons are pretty much...
Is it running around with a bazooka?
In a way, I guess. I mean, you could probably simplify it down to that. Yeah.
I'm sold.
Yeah, it's a good one, I guess. There's a lot of admin that goes with kind of cleaning all the weapons and all that sort of stuff that isn't the most fun. But yeah, but it does probably attract the same people that you're kind of on about. Yeah. You're probably not too far off there either.
Right, nice.
Yeah.
Mountain leader.
Yeah.
Now, I actually know the reality of a mountain leader.
Okay.
Because I watched the BBC.
Yeah,
Royal
pretty
Marine
good depiction that was.
It sounds a lot more interesting than it is.
You're
effectively a BTEC Bear Grylls.
Yeah, well, you're kind of like your reconnaissance for the wider core, I guess. So you'll go ahead of time and recce stuff, and then come back and report what you found. So you're never going to get you're really not going to get up close and personal with the enemy, or you shouldn't do, otherwise you've done something wrong.
Yeah.
So the sharp end really isn't there for them unless they get caught. They're obviously really good at that, but they don't need that normally. A lot of it is just like staring at things and seeing if they move, and then reporting back what you see. But a couple of the bits of training and that kind of thing are really cool. Like you go to Norway for like 3-6 months, ski, fucking learn how to, I don't know, military ski to the best in the world, and then you would have seen that documentary. And it's one of the harder, probably that and PTI are the ones that people look at and go, I want to do that, until they find out what's entailed in those 2 specialisations. So mountain leader, the selection for it is about 8 months, the same as basic training lengthwise, and probably as hard, some would argue harder than special forces selection. So it's ridiculous, really.
That's mad when you think about it, because like ordinary person on the street wouldn't even know what mountain leader is.
No,
so
exactly.
You don't even get
the recognition.
Yeah,
you used to get mountain leader pay, but I don't think you even get that anymore. You get obviously more interesting opportunities as a mountain leader because you get different trips and stuff. But
And I guess if you're thinking about like post-military, there's a lot of transferable skills there.
I'm guessing so. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to go into that same avenue,
if like outward bounds is your kind of vibe, then
Yeah.
it's going to set you up perfectly, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, you'll have a bit. But again, I don't know how much that transitions over because there might be some areas of the civilian world don't even know what a good mountain leader is and what a bad mountain leader is and that sort of thing. So it might be that you don't get the recognition you deserve, I guess.
Right. Number 1, scout sniper.
Yeah, pretty cool.
This sounds fucking cool as shit.
Yeah, it never appealed to me, but go on.
Are you basically Bradley Cooper, an American Sniper?
Not everything's a film.
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah, so I mean, it's as it kind of sounds in wartime. I guess it's really, really cool because you're doing the job you'd imagine a sniper does. In peacetime, probably not as cool. You're just doing this. You're kind of a soldier within a troop, and you might get some preferential treatment, but not too much. And then the course again is really hard, as you might imagine. It's the hardest sniper course in the entire military, including like overseas special forces even use the same sniper course. So it's insane, basically, to get to the point of being a sniper. I just it never appealed to me to sit in a field for extended periods of time watching things, and that's a lot of what it involves.
A lot of it is just reconnaissance, isn't it? Really?
Yeah,
you're not
majority.
You're not really pulling the trigger that often, are you?
Yeah, probably not. Until, like I say, you're in actual wartime, and that's your thing. But it's pretty cool if that's the case.
I like to think that snipers. You remember those Lynx adverts where like women would literally chase that bloke around who wore Lynx? I like to think that snipers are that in real life.
Yeah, I guess I'm at some of them. One of our sergeants was a sniper in training. He was a mega cool bloke, but you always think your sergeant in training is a fucking cool bloke because you're looking up to him. But yeah, I guess that might be true. Probably more true of PTIs. I guess.
Yeah, I guess that they're more obvious though, aren't they?
Yeah.
And also, thinking about it, it's a bit cringe if you go into a bar and drop sniper game.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you know what I mean?
You can't be dropping sniper game.
No, because it literally just makes...
You go into a bar in a ghillie suit or something.
It just sounds like you've made it up.
Yeah,
that's what I'm one of Men in Black.
Yeah, I'm MI6.
Yeah,
it's
bollocks,
it's just as bad, isn't it?
I'm a penguin erector.
Yeah, we used to use that one.
Right, they're the cool ones.
Okay.
Let's go through the shit.
Right, let's tread through the water.
Royal Marines logistic. You're a fucking bean counter, aren't you?
Yeah, that's
not
what anyone wants to do.
You literally live in a fucking store cupboard. You like Old Mother Hubbard.
Yeah, well, that's kind of almost always a segue out of the corps. Like, they'll put you there, and you'll do your last couple of years, then you'll fuck off. It can be that, or it can be like tracksuit soldiers where they're really good at sports, or they'll lean into triathlons or that sort of thing because they've got nothing else to fucking do, and they're never going to be soldiering. They can focus on fizz, and sometimes people love that.
Is that like sometimes tactically done? So if you've got someone that's nailing all the sports, like they'll just put them on logistics,
or they'll put themselves on it because they'll be like, well, what can I do where my pretty much only stress is going to be fizz, and they're like, easiest job with no field time is that.
So you either do it for an easy ride, or you get put there because you've been a naughty boy.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Right.
Discipline.
Royal Marines Police. Now, I didn't think there'd ever be a role that could make the Royal Marines sound uncool, but lo and behold, I found one.
These are the unpopular blokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to be like
a proper Norse.
Yeah. That's literally what I've written.
Yeah, you have to be a Norse, 100%. I don't think I've ever met a Royal Marines police, to be honest. I don't think so. I've met army police.
The two things that I wrote were Norse and must be a virgin to qualify.
Probably both true. I've never met. I don't think I've ever met one. That's so weird. It's not a very common position at all.
Let's just try and understand the thought process behind this.
Yeah, because surely you would join the police.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So you've become a Marine. You're an elite soldier.
Yeah. You
then decide you want to be an agent of control and piss people off.
Yeah, essentially police the rest of the lads, which just makes no sense.
What you've done there is you've regressed as a human.
You've moved backwards. You can't do that. Yeah, so so not the best. You probably got it right there, placed correctly.
Shout out to any Royal Marine police that we have viewing. Please don't hurt me if you meet me in real life.
Please don't report the podcast.
Right, this one is the one I know the least about, and I'll probably say it wrong. Yeoman of Signals.
Oh yeah, this is actually quite cool.
Right, this sounds like some kind of medieval fortune teller.
Yeah, again, don't think I've ever met one, but go on.
I picture a man in a tunic who can only communicate through playing a flute.
Yeah, incorrect, that one. that's a bit off. But no, this is like someone who's like a master of SIGs, basically. So someone will go signal, someone will be a signaller, so working with radios and stuff.
Right.
And they'll progress through, so they'll be like a corporal, sergeant, whatever. And then you can go on an extra course to become a yeoman of SIGs, which you have to you get like degree level qualifications with.
Oh, man.
And you can come out and earn like 80, 100 grand a year, like straight away. It's mad.
So this is like the Call of Duty gold camo of Signals.
Yeah, pretty much like 10th prestige of Signals.
Right.
Yeah.
They should call it that.
It's
got more of a
ring, hasn't it? Yeah, no one wants to be a yeoman. One of my mates was actually talking about doing that the other day.
Right, so on to the last two now. This is the bottom of the barrel stuff.
Okay,
this is the dross.
Getting dirty.
Right, general duties.
Yeah, general duties is everyone who's not got any.
Yeah. That was particularly uninspiring to read. It sounded like the geography degree of Specialisations.
Yeah, that's fucking true, you know. Actually, to be fair, a lot of people aspire to be general duties for longer. So, so you leave training, that's what you are. Your general duties Marine.
Right.
So you're doing everything, and you haven't got a specialisation. And when you get a specialisation, you're no longer general duties. So a lot of people feel like they're forced to get a specialisation, which they kind of are, and they might become a signaller and hate it, and then just like yearn to be a soldier again, and yearn to be a general duties Marine again. So it can be something that people fight for. If you're going to be like a career soldier, then it's probably quite good. Yeah.
Jack of all trades. Master of none.
You just focus on being one of the lads and being a Marine and a soldier. You're not really focusing on signals or focusing on driving or focusing on mountain leader or whatever. So you're just focusing on being a soldier. Some people love that. What's the worst one?
Number one.
Okay.
I'm
ready.
My eyes nearly bled reading this. Information management.
Okay.
This sounds like the Gareth Keenan of like noises. This is like you've swapped your SA80 for Windows 97. This is like
pretty much
this is bad.
You take a laptop in the field. Pretty much is what you have to do.
Is it literally like IT?
Depends what you mean by. Is that like clerk? You mean like
this is what it said.
Okay.
Information management.
That's probably is clerk, I guess. Yeah. Clerk's a terrible job. Yeah. You normally get like sat in an office with you sat in an office first of all with a navy clerk who's typically a woman, like overseeing your stuff.
Not there's anything wrong with women.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. No, but there's a stigma behind being a Royal Marines clerk, and again, the same as the what was the other one you mentioned? The one that was like first or second.
Logistics.
Yeah, kind of like that, where you want an easy ride, or you want to not go in the field as much. You would become a clerk.
Yeah. Let's say this is you're a desk jockey.
Yeah, we have a word for those kind of people. Do you want to know it?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, it's called REMF.
REMF. There you go. That word of the day. REMF.
Do you know what it stands for?
No.
Rear echelon motherfucker. Is what it stands for.
There you go, people.
Someone who hangs out in the rear esh, basically. And isn't sort of involved in the action.
I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, you're pretty.
I think I nailed that on. Yeah. Does what it says on the tin. Right, so if we go back to armoured support, this is your lived experience.
This is my lived experience.
What was it like?
It was mixed reviews, I would say. It's a strange place, armoured support, because it should, on like the whole, where like you look at what's involved with it should be really good. Like you get to drive these really cool wagons, you get to go, every trip needs you because everyone needs an armoured way of getting around. So you're always going on trips. But it just, for some reason, there's like a toxicity in the camp. For some reason, like it seems to be, again, there's a lot of people leaving. And so what happens there is, because they're in the last couple of months, they're being negative about the Corps. And that feeds into the people who've just joined the unit. And so it can be a bit toxic. And I think from my lived experience, that comes from the top. And I don't think our Sergeant Major was very good. If he's watching, Sorry, it's definitely not. But yeah, like the way it was ran didn't inspire any sort of positivity or anything like that, and I feel like it could have been done so much better. But overall, I think I enjoyed it, but I maybe wouldn't choose it again if I was to live my time again.
Yeah. So you based down near Bournemouth.
Yeah, so based in Bovington, which is about 40 minutes from Bournemouth. I say Bournemouth because it's easiest.
Yeah.
But that is one of the better parts of it. You're in such a good location. And
yeah, in the summer you were down on the beach every day, weren't you?
During COVID we had
officially he wasn't.
Yeah. No, it was part of work, to be fair. So we had like sports make amends on a Wednesday. It's called. So you have like a half day on Wednesday.
That's what
most units
do that.
Yeah, most units have that, and so you'll work half a day and then you play sport. In COVID, we couldn't play sport officially because obviously we couldn't be 6 feet near someone. So we took it upon ourselves to use that afternoon to go to the beach and send it on the booze, which was decent.
See, that sounds Gucci.
Really good. Really good summer.
At the actual vehicle maintenance part of it,
that's dead.
Now, I like to think that I know you quite well. You've never shown any interest in any form of vehicle mechanics.
Yeah, I think that was an oversight. Didn't quite know what was getting into there. There is a lot of maintenance involved in that one, 100%. Because the mechanics have got so much to do. Because these wagons, remember, are like 30 years old now. And so the actual like more complex jobs are coming up more and more because the engines are dying or whatever. So that's what the mechanics have to do. The mechanics are already short-staffed. So anything that's, call it level 1, like changing wing mirrors or changing windscreen wipers or whatever, which again happens all the time because they're old. It's our job and it's always happening because there's a fleet of like 100 wagons. You can imagine if one goes wrong, then you have to do it. So yeah, it's shit. That bit of it's not great.
So right, let's run through some of the more mundane and shit basic tasks that you had to undertake.
The worst one, I think, is probably changing a fuel filter.
Right,
Doesn't sound riveting.
I don't even know what a fuel filter is.
Yeah, I didn't either. So I still probably don't know what it does. But I know it needs changing every time they tell me to. So you take like the big cover off. Again, never easy to get to these things. You have to like take a seat out, which takes forever, and then crawl in the back of this thing, crack like 4 screws on. I'm getting like PTSD fucking describing this. Like crack 4 screws off, which again will be rusted to shit. So you have to like hang off it to get it off. Take this big thing off, big panel. So you almost like deconstructed the middle of the wagon pretty much. It's all just fucking in the workshop, and then they don't put the fuel filter in somewhere because it's like it's on for 6 months. These things. So
is there a log of like when it was last changed? Is it changed?
Yeah, it's not normally that precise, but sometimes you end up like changing one fucking 2 weeks after you've just changed it.
Right. Which
is great. Part of the frustration again, but like the it's never accessible. So it's underneath loads of piping, and you can't get a good handle on it because there's a pipe that comes over here. So you can't like get where you want to be to get any leverage on it. And it's fucking like...
Sounds like you're describing something else.
That's it. The torque you need to crack it off is obviously a lot because they're on for 6 months. They get really tight. And so you just can't get to it. So you end up fucking like grazing all your arm trying to get into it. And then, you get like 8 lads trying to hang off it every time.
That sounds shit.
Which is shit. It takes that individual job takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours just to get one thing off and then get it on again.
I imagine washing the things is a pain in the arse.
Yeah.
Because now in the military, they will require an unbelievable level of cleanliness.
And like I say, these are fucking 30 years old. These wagons,
they look like shit.
They look like shit. So you're polishing a turd.
Yeah, I was literally about to say, you're effectively polishing a turd.
Exactly.
It's a futile pursuit.
And obviously they go on exercise in like Salisbury where it's all fucking dust and it just comes back in an absolute shit state. You've got people inside who are dirty because they're in the field, so that gets all fucked as well. And then you'll have a day to turn it around. So there'll be like 8 in the morning till 4 p.m. You'll have to turn it all the way around and you've got loads of wagons to do. That is one of the longest things. It's fucking shit. And then they'll come around if they're being a dick and they'll be like, yeah, not good enough, fucking got another hour.
That is shit.
So good. And they'll just keep bumping it. So that was terrible. Yeah, I buried that to the bottom of my mind.
Any other shit jobs?
Changing tracks. So sometimes these vehicles can throw tracks, so they're tracked vehicles, and sometimes if the track's not like on properly, maybe it's loosened for whatever reason, or the terrain just causes it to go. Sometimes it can be going on like a really shit angle.
Yeah.
And you'll take a turn and the track will just come off the back. Or it can wear and you've got to just change it anyway. These tracks weigh 316 kilos. And so to get them onto something, and they're fucking obviously really tight, so you can't get them on really easy. Yes, that's fucking shit. That's about a day that takes 4 lads to do.
It sounds shit. Because I remember...
And there's 4 tracks on every vehicle.
I remember when you were contemplating which specialisation to do. We went to Zante, do you remember?
Yeah.
And I think that's just before you put in
it was.
your preferences.
Yeah.
And it sounded mint.
Yeah,
from
I know.
what you described to me. And then everything I've heard subsequently has undone that.
Sold me the
assumption.
dream a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's a shock. You never get that in the military normally.
Yeah, trust. But yeah, I mean, it's not great. There are parts of it that are really cool. Like the actual, when you're driving the wagons is awesome.
That sounds cool.
But that's about like 10% of what you actually do. Because everything else is the maintenance, the cleaning, the whatever.
So what actually are these vehicles?
Armoured support. They're like armoured all-terrain vehicles.
Have they got a name?
Vikings.
Right, okay. And they're like
Good job.
articulated, aren't they?
Yeah, they're articulated right in the middle. So the steering column is in the middle. So they steer from the middle.
So you can drive them with the licences that you got from Beaconsfield?
You have to do a further course though to drive the actual vehicle because it's difficult. So when you're in the driver's seat, you drive it on the left first of all, which is strange, and then so you're in the driver's seat. You can't actually see anything, so you can see like this field of view, maybe like 12 inches between your hands.
Yeah,
and you have a top cover who's sticking out the top, who can see everything, and you're just on comms to them constantly. They're telling you when you can go, when you can't go, when you can turn out of a junction.
Oh shit!
So you're actually just driving blind. You may as well close your eyes and just fucking listen to him.
That's mental.
It's mad, yeah. You have to have complete trust in the bloke above you.
Immature question.
Yeah.
What armour have we got?
It's like...
Are we packing heat?
Yeah, it's good. It can't take... So, it can take 5.56, which is the rounds we fire. You can take fucking loads then. A 7.62, which is like the bigger one that a GPMG fires, that a AK-47 would fire. Can go through some of them. The windows are really good. The windows are fucking that thick. So they're mental. Then the underbelly armour is the one that is kind of the best, I guess, because that was built for Afghan where they were getting loads of IEDs threat.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so it splays the impact of the explosion as much as possible in like a V. And
it's fitted with a GPMG.
Yeah. So
the guy who's
directing you normally
is also...
Well, that's when you're on a road move, telling you when to go and stuff. When you're in the field, when you're doing like what it's actually designed to do.
Yeah.
That guy's firing the GPMG is probably, if he's a corporal or in charge of the section, he's looking at where the other wagons are. You do almost the same soldiering as you do on the ground, but now in a vehicle. So it's really, really difficult sometimes to coordinate things because obviously everything's loud. You're not like 5 meters away from the next bloke. You're about 200 meters away from the next wagon. So you've got a further radio net to the other wagons and an internal net to your driver.
Yeah.
So it can be difficult. But so the bloke on top cover basically has 1,001 things going on because he's got to make sure the wagon doesn't roll because the driver can't fucking see much basically. So you've got to be looking for different like rivets and divots and stuff that the wagon can go in because it's all terrain. It can do most shit, but some stuff you need like special care and attention. Some bits of terrain. It can be, yeah.
Semi-amphibious.
It is amphibious. They tell you it's amphibious, but it's about as amphibious as... Fucking hell, I don't know.
So it's not amphibious.
Yeah, it's just terrible. It's like, it takes up to sea state 2, which is basically, when you're in the bath and you tap the water. That's basically that. and so it's a bit shit. So if it's anything, any real current, he's gonna fuck it up. It'll float. I think they say it swims, but I really just think it floats more than anything. So it just doesn't sink, and they call it amphibious. But yeah, it can swim, but it swims at about 3 miles an hour. And the driver, so the driver seat's about maybe about 6 foot above the bottom of the track. So that's where he's sitting. So you're sitting quite high when you're on the ground.
Yeah.
The way the water level is, when you're driving underwater, it's like here. So you've got the window, and then about 6 inches, 4 inches maybe of window left.
Yeah.
So you just feel like you're drowning. So yeah, it's not fun. And obviously, if that went down, you'd be fucked.
I was going to say, it sounds to me like they weren't designed with being amphibious in mind.
I think they were, but I don't know who the fuck designed them. Yeah. But they're not. I mean, again, who wants to move at 3 miles an hour across water in a combat zone?
I was going to say in a combat zone as well. In a massive cube.
Yeah, in a massive green box.
Yeah.
Brilliant, but yeah. So I wouldn't like to do that if I was in a real situation.
Right, okay, so that's another bit of an L. Best parts.
So armored sport?
Yeah, so you were there. You overlapped with COVID, didn't you? Which obviously,
yeah,
I guess, kind of gave you a bit of a distorted experience.
A little bit, yeah. It was towards the end of my time, that was, so not too much. I still got on a few different trips. Best bit's probably individual best bit. If I had to like pluck a moment out of the air, would probably be Norway on the skid planes. So in Norway, you have like a dedicated day to get to this skid plan, which is like a massive iced field, basically. And it's huge, and you just go and fucking drag the vehicles around. It's just all it is to like acclimatise yourself on what it's like to drive on ice. So what to do if it spins out or whatever. But to do that, they let you just floor it and then fucking rag it to the left, and it just spins out. It's class. But yeah, so that's probably the best bit.
Decent.
I think that was pretty
no
good.
more Norway stories.
Okay.
Because we're going to do a separate episode.
Oh, okay, sweet.
Separate episode on travel and shit. Yeah. Right, okay. So you did armored sport, and then you left.
Yeah.
If you could do anything differently, what would you do?
If I wanted to stay in for an extended period of time, I'd have probably done a similar specialisation, as in maybe one that wasn't quite as busy, so I could focus on what I'm about to do. So I would want to be a PTI, essentially. That would be my goal. To do that, I'd have to be promoted. So I'd go to somewhere where promotion is quicker. So that generally tends to be stores or something like a small specialisation where it doesn't have as many people. I'd do that as well as I could, get my juniors, and then just do
and then
PTI.
do the PTI course.
Yeah, that'd be my long term.
If you like stayed, but you obviously left.
I left. Yeah.
So that's all hypothetical.
Yeah.
Right. So we covered some of the specialisations before. Are there any that we missed that stick out? What about boarding course?
That's not a specialisation. It's a draft. There's a difference. A little bit.
Okay.
Difference.
Let's do some admin. What's the difference between a specialisation and a draft?
Yeah. It's pretty murky. That kind of water. The blurred lines get you going. So, boarding teams you can go on when you're general duties, but you won't be a specialisation. You'll just be on the boarding teams, and you'll do that for 2 years or however long they want you on there for. And then you'll come back to being general duties, and often you'll just get pinged for. They'll get sent to a different spec.
Is boarding course something that people aspire to do, or is it a shit draft?
No, it's good. Yeah,
good.
Yeah, people aspire to do that.
It looked cool on the documentaries.
Yeah, they make things look a lot cooler.
I was going to say, I would take that with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, they are on ship for a long period of time. So that's something to consider.
They're kind of glazed over that.
Yeah,
they focus more on killing terrorists.
Yeah, that's probably the good part. I mean, it happened like once.
Yeah.
In like, I don't know, the last 5 years, where they seized a load of cocaine or something.
Yeah, from what I could see, basically, you just spend your days terrorising fucking fishermen in the Atlantic.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Well, I mean, they're not quite fishermen. Some of them are pirates, but it's not like fishermen you find in fucking Dover. But yeah. They're often like they're on some sort of border, and they're stopping Somali pirates or pirates coming in, which gets interesting, I guess. So anything in the core where you can potentially face combat is always going to be sought after.
Yeah. And
so boarding teams is one of them, because while we're not at war, you're put in somewhere where you're going to get some animosity from someone. So that's always attractive for people, because obviously that's what you've trained for. But
then the reality of it is probably quite different.
Yeah, probably.
It's that morsel of action everyone craves, isn't it?
But that's the same as, from what I've heard, obviously didn't go, but from what I've heard, actual warfare is like that. It's like 10% action, 90% waiting around, or doing admin tasks and stuff like that. So it's not all
mentally. That must be
a draining.
Very jarring.
I think so.
But constantly, being on perpetual edge, basically.
Well, yeah, you're always just switched on.
Yeah.
You can't switch off, because obviously terrible things can happen. So, while it's only like, it's almost like being a keeper in a shit game.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like, they're always dormant, but they're ready to go.
That's a good analogy, actually.
Yeah, that's just thought.
He's proud of that one.
Yeah. But boarding teams is really good one to do, because again, you don't do it for your whole career, so it's like a flash in the pan and then you come out.
Right, so spoiler alert, you never were deployed anywhere.
No, I wasn't, unfortunately.
Is that genuinely
I would have liked to.
disappointed about that?
Yeah, I would have liked to. Just because it's something that only fucking a few people have ever experienced, and it's what you fucking train for at the end of the day, isn't it? You do all that, like we spoke about in the last episode. 8 months or 9 months of horrendous stuff is all geared towards that, and not to do it is a bit annoying. And actually, the subsequent training, anything you do at your unit, anything you do in the Corps, is geared towards that eventual thing, and it didn't happen.
So in relation to live conflicts that the Marines have been involved in, in recent years, probably Afghans, the latest.
Afghans, the latest one.
So anyone that you were stationed with in armoured support serving Afghan?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most of the corporals, or anyone who's been in kind of the last 8 years, I guess.
Okay, so how was armoured support utilised in that theatre?
It was big, to be fair, because you can imagine the IED threat being what it was. You know, can't really use roads too much, so the all-terrain stuff really came into its own, because obviously they would just pollute the roads with IEDs. So if you can go off-road, then that's brilliant. You can sort of fly under the radar. And with it being armoured as well, it just ferrying troops from one place to another is made so much easier if you've got transport, because otherwise they've got to fucking walk. And that comes with its own risks, as in, you know, obviously there's a lower ground signature, as in that, you know, they can't be seen as much, but also there's no protection, all that kind of stuff. And they were using a big role in casualty evacuations, because they're armoured and they're fast and they can get across the ground. They could get people in the back of the wagon, get them treated while they're on the move. It's almost like a battlefield ambulance that's armoured. So if it's getting shot at, it doesn't matter, and someone's in the back just doing the business. So
interesting.
It was used a lot on that, I think. Yeah. There was a lot of corporals and sergeants that had a really close, tight relationship, because they were driver commander for each other.
Right.
So in that theatre, you would have a driver and commander for one vehicle. And those people would get a real close relationship, because they're constantly on comms to each other, constantly working on the same wagon, all that kind of stuff.
Is there a disconnect in the Corps between people that have done tours and people that haven't?
I think with some people, yeah.
It just depends on the individual.
Definitely. And I always think it's a bit stupid, to be honest, because you can't control when you were born or when you joined the Corps. It's not your fault, right? So
yeah.
There's a underlying narrative from some people, a minority, to be honest, though, from what I found, that, you know, you're not a proper Marine unless you went to combat, and, you know, it's like, well, what do you want us to do? It's not like that. My whole generation, people who joined with me, haven't seen anything, because there was nothing going on. It's not like we've opted out. It's like there wasn't anything offered. So, I think there's a little bit of that, but mostly people are a bit more sensible with it, or it's said in jest.
Yeah, because I guess for someone our age, there's not really been a live theatre that they could have served in.
No, even if I joined at 16, my earliest point, I
would have been too old. But I guess if you're of a certain age, theoretically, you could have done Falklands, Gulf War.
Oh yeah,
Falklands
still.
The Balkans.
Yeah.
And then if you'd have if you did the entire career, you could have done Iraq and Afghan. Loads.
Yeah, there's not so many people who've done that kind of resume.
No, you would have had to have been born at a very specific time and then effectively completely institutionalise yourself in the military and stay there your entire life. But I'm sure there's someone out there that's done it.
Probably, yeah, and there'll be probably a colonel or something that will by now. Yeah. They'll have been in that long. But typically, past a certain point in your career, you might not get deployed as much anyway. So into a theatre of war, I guess. So it might not materialise like that. Right.
Have we missed any out for the lovely viewers at home?
Any interesting ones? There's Mad Mental Mortars. We've got to give them a shout. It's Jamie.
Mad Mental Mortars?
Yeah.
They missed this off the list. Right. If you're the person that's in charge of the Royal Marine website, if you're out there, you're fucking missing a trick here.
Recruitment, get on this. Mortars is a specialisation. Obviously, they drop the bombs down the tube.
Yeah, and I know what a mortar is. Why is it mad and mental?
Yeah, so the blokes in there are just mental, basically.
Really? So they're the unhinged people.
Yeah.
So are they stealing recruits from heavy weapons?
Yeah, probably. I don't know why it is that way, but it just seems that the kind of piss up culture is so ingrained into that specialisation.
This is fascinating. I do nothing about this.
Yeah, mad mental mortars. You'll see people with 3Ms tattooed on them, and then you know.
Oh,
then you know, they're involved. But yeah,
there's a life lesson for people. If you're ever in a pub and someone offers you out and they have 3Ms tattooed on their arm, don't fight them.
Yeah,
because they will rip your face off.
And don't challenge them to a drinking contest either, because it won't go well.
One normally leads to another.
Yeah, true. They're well versed in that. And that can lead to Special Forces support group, which we could talk about, I guess.
Hit me. This sounds interesting.
Yeah, so that's another, like boarding teams. It's like it's a draft, and you'll do it for again 2 years, and that's normally a stepping stone to SF. So if someone wants to go Special Forces, they'll get like a little bit of it when they go SFSG. So it'll be
right. Okay. So as a civvy, let's iron out any creases.
Okay.
Special Forces support group.
Yeah.
You're still a Marine.
You're
not actually in the Special Forces.
No. You're still a Marine. You act as like cordoning essentially for SF lads, or you'll live on the camp, but you won't actually go and fight with them. You won't be on their teams, I guess. And so that's a really good one. You get your jumps and you get some of the benefits with it. It's mostly actually paras nowadays that do it. Ooh. So it's a mix between the Marines and the paras. A bit of animosity there, I guess. But I mean that tends to work, I guess, pretty well. Jamie's SFSG now, so he's one of my good mates who went through 4-3 with first unit. He's now SFSG, works alongside paras primarily, really, not really Marines too much, which is strange, but he enjoys it. I think it's good. Sounds like good crack.
So like what is it? Typically day to day, what is he up to?
Well, it depends. It depends what branch of it. There are tons of different things you can do. But,
okay. Are you basically like just at the behest of Special Forces?
Yeah, pretty much. You're just doing what they want you to do.
Right. Okay.
And you'll get put in a pigeonholed into a little job that they need doing, like a little bit their bitch, basically.
Right. Okay. But you won't mind that because the people.
It's Special Forces.
Yeah, because it's Special Forces, and the people that go Special Force support group tend to want to gravitate towards SF anyway.
Yeah.
Because it's like you said, it's a stepping stone, so it's kind of like...
Yeah, exactly. And then, again...
If you are slick of it, you might.
Well, not really. But you just get like a view into their world, like a window into their world.
And then run for the hills.
Yeah, literally. Then the other thing you speak about, I guess, is Special Forces selection. Because that's the other thing people do without going into a specialisation or whether they've done a little bit of that or whatever. Then they'll either look at leaving or... there's 3 kind of ways you can go. You can leave, you can progress within the Marines, or you can join Special Forces, and that's the 3. There's only those, really.
Right, okay. So Marines, being part of the Navy, normally go SBS.
SBS, usually. You can do both.
Can they go SAS?
Yeah, you can do what you want.
Oh, okay.
You do what you want. You just have to... So you book your own briefing course, really. So you'll go to your chain of command, you say, I want to go on a briefing course for SF, whatever, whichever one you want to go on. They'll go either you two shit or
okay.
Sound.
So they make the final decision.
They kind of make a decision. They'll like pass their judgment and it's kind of final. They'll normally allow you to go though, because why not? It's a good kind of bragging right for them if one of their troop gets badged. And so you'll book a briefing course. It'll be in whenever. It'll be it's like 5 days long, I believe, and that'll be for whichever force you want to go to. That's changed recently actually to now it's a joint one, so everyone does the same one, and then you pick which one you qualify for. So if you could do a bit worse on it, and you might go Special Forces Communicator because it requires less physical aptitude.
Oh really?
Or SAS, SBS, obviously the top 2. You have to do really well in your briefing course, and then you choose between those 2.
That's mental. So not everyone's going full Rambo.
Nah. Some people will try full Rambo and fail on something, and then they'll
like
go
SF Gareth Keenan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, SF Gareth Keenan. I like it. I have to insert a photo of Gareth Keenan.
Yeah, everyone knows if anyone that doesn't know who Gareth Keenan is, he's a nose.
Yeah. And that can also be another stepping stone so it can go either way. You can either try SF and fall to SFC communicator, or you can go SFC to get a window and further window in, and then go SF.
So, say you go SF,
yeah,
and you're unsuccessful, and you've been playing your mouth about how much you're going to smash SF.
Yeah.
What happens then?
Ostracisation.
Institutional bullying.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, character building. Yeah, you'll get. I mean, if you've been playing your mouth about it and you don't achieve it, like anything, you'll get.
Do you go back to your old unit in the Marines?
Yeah, you get RTU'd, return to unit.
Oh, that's
ominous. Yeah, so if you fail anything across all the sections, you just get sent straight back to the start, back to your unit. You can have 3 attempts normally.
Right. Okay.
Normally 3 attempts, not always. But yeah, I mean, you can fall at any hurdles. There's hills phase, jungle, and then survival.
SF training goes on for fucking ages.
6 months,
ish. Like
yeah,
and it's all nails.
It's all nails, yeah, exactly.
Did you never fancy it?
No, I mean, I'll cross my mind because what they do, they bring the warrant officer of SBS in to
Of course they do.
Talk you up
to sell you a dream.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and when everyone leaves that lecture, going, I'm going SF. I'm doing it. He can do it. He told me I can do it. And then you kind of walk to the gym in the rain and you think, fuck this. But yeah, I fancied it up to a point, but I think thinking bigger picture, what I wanted for my actual life, as in a bit of control over my schedule, like that kind of thing, I wouldn't have had any of that had I have gone SF. Not that it wouldn't have been amazing, but yeah, and I probably would have failed.
We probably wouldn't be doing this podcast.
Definitely wouldn't be doing this podcast.
Well, actually, we would.
I'd have a big, massive black strip.
We would, but your face would be pixelated.
Yeah, I'd be in a balaclava. But yeah, that's my kind of view on that. But I obviously it would have been amazing. The opportunities you get are never ending.
And it's cool as fuck.
Yeah, it's just cool as fuck.
Gucci. Have you missed any others?
I think so. No, I had to give Mortars a shout.
Mad Mental Mortars. That's great.
Mortars, yeah. And then I think that's pretty much it. It's, in terms of the interesting ones, there's the standard ones. There's, like you said, there's 28 of them. So almost most, especially in the wider military, most jobs you can think of in Civvy Street exist within the military. It's its own little ecosystem.
Yeah.
So it has to function.
So if you're thinking about transferable skills for when you go back onto Civvy Street,
yeah.
What would you say is the most? What would you say is the most kind of useful one? If you're thinking pure career wise and you take enjoyment out of it.
Oh, probably.
If you want to think, I want to get a job.
Yeah.
When I leave.
The one that springs to mind is vehicle mechanic. Probably.
Okay. I was thinking straight like medic or something.
Yeah, medic. You just go, but you get kind of basic medical qualifications.
Right, okay,
you get not basic. They are pretty good, but they're not that recognised as far as I know. Unless they've changed it.
Are they crafty like that? So they'll give you internal qualifications that aren't transferable.
The Marines are.
See, they've sold another dream.
Yeah,
they know what they're doing.
The rest of the military aren't. So it's interesting. There's always a debate about that. The Marines always have done that, but yeah, vehicle mechanics a good straight transfer.
Yeah.
I know someone who left and just went to work on trains on like 80 grand a year. So
that's
sound.
That's class.
It's not bad.
That was a curveball. I wasn't expecting.
Not a bad upgrade there, but he actually got kicked out as well. He got kicked out for fighting, right? And then the sergeant major gave him all this spiel like you're never gonna get him out to anything. And then he left, and he also used to do tattoos for the lads in the block. So like the core tats.
Yeah.
Everyone would be walking around, he'd do them because he's
what, like stick and poke, or like actually had a tattoo?
No, he had a tattoo gun and a license. He wasn't like.
I was going to say, he's got a prison ward you living on.
Yeah, so he was doing that, and now, as far as I know, he might have changed. He works on the trains, doing really well, and then on the side still does tattooing. So he's making.
That's class.
So he's like.
He's like HS2, past Limpston, fuck off, HS2 exactly. Doesn't go past Limpston.
No, it doesn't. That'd be a detour.
It might make your fucking basic training a lot easier.
Yeah,
wouldn't it?
Yeah. Not that you go home too much. But yeah, I think that's the main ones covered. Yeah, like I say, my main experience is in armoured support group, so the things that I mentioned may be slightly inaccurate, but that's just more from my experience with people I've met and had dealings with, I guess. There's one more to mention. Assault engineer is one, which is quite cool. Assault engineer is pretty good. AE.
GBH or something?
Not quite.
The most efficient way to hurt someone.
Yeah, it's like demolitions and stuff like that.
Oh.
So that's quite cool.
So is that not attached to Mad Mental Mortars?
No, funnily enough, not. It's a separate one. But again, the reason the Marines has specialisations, as far as I know, is so it can be self-sufficient. So, you have drivers, you have your own drivers, you have your own medic, you have your own comms, you have your own, all that kind of stuff. So a section could be self-sufficient, but they wouldn't need anyone else to come in. Like the army, you have the infantry, and you have like a drives unit, and they pull from the drives unit, whereas the Marines like to be completely self-sufficient.
Right, I'm with you.
Yeah, so that's why they exist.
Assault engineer sounds cool.
Yeah, it's
like the thinking man psycho.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like these little abridged versions you've got of your own little view on the specialisations.
Right. Well, I think we've covered everything specialisations wise.
Yeah.
Didn't delve too much into deployments or travel because that's next week's episode. So
yeah.
Look forward to that.
Yeah.
Shall we finish with the new feature?
Yes.
Right. Okay. So me and Harry had the bright idea. Well, I was made aware of a group chat that was created while he was going through basic training, which, to cut a long story short, has quite a lot of loose photos in it. So we thought it would be good to end each episode if I do a blind deep dive on this group chat and just pick out one or two photos completely at random.
Yeah.
And then off the cuff, you have to explain the context of them, and we'll put them up on the screen for you so you guys can see.
Right, okay, I'm going to go into media and files now and then just give them the phone blind. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Might have to load.
Okay. Right, what's out of bounds here?
You decide. There's some raucous photos on that chat. You won't out too
right, okay, so right off the cuff, start as you mean to go on. Right. Go. What's that?
Well, yeah, that's the end of training, or the end of a long period of. Can we put that on the screen?
We might have to pick like certain parts of it.
End of a long period of celibacy, should we say? And so, yeah, any hole's a goal at that point, I guess.
Well, there's a lot to unpack here.
Okay,
so we'll just pick on a few things.
Yeah.
Firstly, I think it's a woman.
Yeah.
She looks quite hairy.
Yeah, I think again, end of it's like end of the night vibes. When the lights are dark. Yeah. Anything goes. So, and I don't know why there's someone else there taking a photo, which is also worrying.
That hadn't crossed my mind.
Yeah.
Again,
there's a third party here taking the photo. So, yeah, interesting one that to start with.
The bed also looks like it's broken.
Let's have a look.
But again, it looks like there's some quite violent thrusting going on. So
I mean, you can see she's quite on the heavier side. So that might explain the broken bed.
I'd like to think she's big-hearted, but that would be bullshit.
Yeah,
Partridge reference there for anyone
that knows. But yeah, that's that one. Good start.
Right, okay. So there's one. We'll go one more, so we won't use them all up. Right, okay, this. Oh, it's not loading. Right, okay, that one.
That's a great one. Okay, that's so there was a trend in our troop of, obviously, Instagram's a wonderful thing, looking at lads' sisters in their Instagram.
This is better than I thought.
Yeah, so you go on their sisters, or you go on their Instagram, type in their second name and find their sister, and some of them had really good looking sisters, and so recruit Brindley, who this person relates to,
oh, poor Brindley.
Yeah, his sister took the fancy of a few of the lads, so they decided at Christmas to buy the sergeant a present.
Yeah.
Right? And what they did was they printed off the best photo they could find, of said sister, and overlaid it onto a mug, and then gave the sergeant the mug for Christmas. And he was buzzing with that, obviously. So yeah.
So this is Recruit Brinley's sister, the
yeah.
female in question.
Yeah.
Shout out to her if she's watching.
It's on Instagram, that photo as well. So we're not breaking any rules. I think it is anyway. As far as I know, it was.
She might have to sign a non-disclosure agreement.
I'll get in touch. But yeah, so that's now on a mug somewhere. Don't know
Brilliant.
But yeah. 2 more of them next week. So we're not going to get rid of them all because there are some gold in there.
Yeah, okay, so we've done 2, and I'd say there's a good 50 odd pictures in this chat. So, okay. So
yeah. They all have a story.
Right, okay. Things have escalated because the connection here isn't great. Not all of them are loaded.
Are we going to ruin another one? We're going to get another one in.
Should we do another one?
Right,
okay. Before we finish, we'll just do another one. The one that I was drawn towards, I think, is too loose, and we may not be able to use it.
Okay. Well, don't choose that. Let's get one we can actually use.
They're all so inappropriate. Right, okay. Well,
as you can tell, this is completely blind.
This is completely blind, but I'm also trying to overcome psychological scarring whilst also doing a podcast. So,
There's a lot going on.
This is a video.
Oh shite! Okay.
So,
this could go.
I won't show you the video because you obviously know what it is.
Right.
But if I don't think we're going to be able to. We might not be able to put this on screen. Shet might just have to give us.
I might have to depict it.
Yeah,
That's fine.
just depict it for us and try and use as little violent sexual imagery as possible.
Okay, let's go. We can't use that one at all. I took that video.
So
I actually took that one. That's my video.
For audio listeners and the visually impaired, can you please succinctly describe what's going on in that video?
So imagine a windmill of a naked bloke doing a windmill with his penis. However, it's straight up and down in the straight up and down motion. I think that depicts it. Correctly.
It's kind of like an aggressive cat flap that's been caught in the wind.
Yeah, it's sizable as well, but the sizable cat flap. Story behind that, I guess, is coming back to how comfortable you are with each other's nakedness. I was just videoing, and he decided to play up to the video.
So was this?
I hope post shower.
Is she sober at this point?
I think so. Yeah.
that's disconcerting. I thought you were going to say it's like the end of a raucous night out.
Oh no, I think we were completely sober. Yeah. completely coherent there. Yeah. I was good to go. I think that's post shower, but again, probably can't show that. But imagine for all of you lot. Yeah, that's
So on that.
On that disconcerting note,
we'll
finish
up,
there.
Yeah, we'll wrap up for this week. As I said, next week, deployments, travel opportunities and socials.
Yep.
So there's going to be some loose stories there.
Again, yes.
In the next week, start thinking of...
Yeah, we will do.
Of all the things. And remember that you do have a missus, so...
Yeah, I'll try and keep it clean.
We'll try and keep it clean.
But yeah, that's episode 2 in the bag. Tune in next week for episode 3.
See you next week.
See you next time.
Bosh. Love that. That was a good episode.